So during the Flipkart Bbd sale, should you save your money and get the Samsung S24FE, or spend much more to get the Samsung S24 Plus, or stay just somewhere in the middle to get the Samsung S24? What should you do? Well, first watch this quick comparison video that will definitely help you choose the right phone for you and not waste your money. Let's start off with the build, design and weight, where all of these phones looks around the same with some color differences mainly, and all of them have an aluminum side frame which is a little better on the S24 and the S24 Plus, with a glass back protected by the Gorillaz Victus Plus for the Samsung S24FE, but with a little better Victus 2 protection on the front and back glasses of the Samsung S24 and the S24 Plus. The S24FE also is thicker at around 8mm, whereas the S24 is around 7.6mm and the S24 Plus is around 7.7mm. And also the S24FE weighs the most for some reason, that's around 213 grams, which is only 167 grams for the S24 and around 196 grams for the S24 Plus. And all of them has an IP68 rating with stereo speakers, which is a little better on the S24 Plus. Overall, all of them looks and feels premium in their individual price points, but when compared, the Samsung S24 and the S24 Plus feels and looks a bit more premium. The same trend could be seen on the display side of things, where the S24FE has a 6.7-inch non-LTPO 120Hz Full HD Plus display with proper HDR10 Plus support, with a peak brightness of over 1900 nits, but with a screen to body ratio of about 88%. So yeah, it does have some big bezels, especially at the bottom side, with 385 ppi for sharpness. The S24 Plus also has a 6.7-inch 1.5K LTPO 120Hz display with HDR10 Plus support and with a peak brightness of over 2600 nits, and with a 91.6% screen to body ratio and 513 ppi for sharpness. But the S24 is the smallest of them all at only around 6.3-inch Full HD Plus LTPO 120Hz display with HDR10 Plus support and 2600 nits of peak brightness, with a 90.9% screen to body ratio with 416 ppi for sharpness. Again, keeping these specs apart, if you want a more sharper and brighter display, then the S24 Plus easily wins, followed by the S24 and then the S24FE. But practically all of the phones' displays looks beautiful in their individual price points. In terms of performance, all of them basically has the same processor in India at least, which is the Exynos 2400E for the S24FE and the Exynos 2400 for the S24 and the S24 Plus. Not a major difference between the two processors apart from the clock speeds, which is a little lower at 3.1 GHz on the S24FE as compared to 3.2 GHz for the Exynos 2400 present on the S24 and the S24 Plus. But in day-to-day life, we won't find that big of a difference between all of these. But also, none of these chipsets are meant for long-term heavy usage like heavy gaming. It is mainly for moderate users only. With 8GB LPDDR5X RAM and 128GB UFS 3.1 storage for the base variants of the S24FE and the S24, whereas the S24 Plus starts with 12GB of LPDDR5X RAM and 256GB of UFS 4.0 storage. The S24FE and the S24 also has 8GB of RAM and 256GB of UFS 4.0 storage option if you can spend a little more. So for normal to moderate users, you won't feel that much of a difference, but for heavy users and those who want a phone between all of these which can give you a little better sustained performance, then the S24 Plus slightly wins. And also the heating is there across all of them here and there, but due to a bigger vapor chamber and a bigger size of the S24 and the S24 Plus, they can manage heat faster and better than the S24. If you are mainly interested in the cameras, then all of them has the same main camera, which is a 50MP one with f1.8 aperture, but the S24 and the S24 Plus has a little bigger 1x1.56-inch sensor as compared to the S24FE's 1x1.57-inch sensor with OIS and autofocus on all of them. The telephoto lens is also slightly different, which is an 8MP f2.4 aperture and an 1x4.4-inch sensor with a 3x optical zoom for the S24FE compared to the 10MP f2.4 aperture with 1x3.4-inch sensor, which is also a 3x optical zoom one for the S24 and the S24 Plus. So both of these phones has a slight better telephoto camera, but none of them are good for low light shots due to this outdated lens. For the ultra wide angle cameras, all of them has a 12MP f2.2 aperture lens with a 1x3-inch sensor for the S24FE and a slight better 1x2.5.5-inch sensor on the S24 and the S24 Plus. Not a big practical difference though. The S24FE is actually a bit wider at 123° point of view as compared to 120° point of view in the S24 and the S24 Plus. Even the front camera is a bit weaker on the S24FE, which is around 10MP with f2.4 aperture as compared to 12MP with f2.2 aperture, also with autofocus, which is absent on the S24FE. All of the cameras except the telephoto lens of the S24FE can shoot up to 4K 60fps or up to 8K 30fps from the main lens, but the S24 and the S24 Plus can shoot up to 4K 60fps videos from all of its lenses and up to 8K 30fps from the main lens. But for all of these phones, if you want to do camera switching while video recording, you have to tune it down to 4K 30fps. Overall, again, they are good camera phones, especially for video recording in their individual prices, but yeah, the S24 and the S24 Plus takes a win. But the S24 heats up more quickly as compared to the S24FE or the S24 Plus due to that small size and Exynos, of course. Now you might be thinking that the S24FE seems like it's falling behind, so what's the point of this comparison? But trust me, things will change in the end. But first let's talk about the battery life and charging of these devices. The S24FE has a 47 mAh battery with 25 watts wired and 15 watts wireless charging. The S24 has a small 4000 mAh battery with 25 watts wired and 15 watts wireless, and the S24 Plus has the biggest battery and fastest charging among these, which is 4900 mAh battery and 45 watts wired and 15 watts wireless charging. So yeah, in day-to-day users, the S24 Plus gives you the best battery and charging options, followed by the S24FE and then the S24. So the S24 will only be recommended for those who doesn't really use their phone for more like social media scrolling, some Netflix or YouTube here and there, and calling with some gaming on camera users here and there. The S24FE and the S24 Plus is a better option for moderate to heavy users. I wouldn't recommend none of them for heavy users though, but still the S24 Plus is the best among these. But yes, the chargers are to be bought separately. All of them were promised of getting up to 7 years of major and security updates, and after a year they all will be still getting 6 more years worth of updates, with really good and practical AI implementations across all of them, and with all features unlocked in all of these devices. But now the deciding factor, the pricing. Now currently the S24FE could be seen around 36,000 rupees during any sales, and the S24 around 47,000 rupees during any sale, and the S24 Plus around 60,000 rupees in the recent sales. But I've seen all of them cheaper, which is around 35,000 rupees for the S24FE, around 45,000 rupees for the S24, and around 52,000 for the S24 Plus. And do mind, I'm talking about the 8 128GB variants pricing for the S24FE and the S24 here, and the 12 256GB base storage option for the S24 Plus, which makes it very clear that there is a 10,000 rupees gap from the S24FE to the S24, or about 15,000 rupees gap between the S24 Plus between the S24FE, or about 5,000 rupees gap between the S24 and the S24 Plus. And during the Bbd sales, the S24FE might go down as low as 30,000 rupees, the S24 around 40,000 rupees, and the S24 Plus around 50,000 rupees. But last year the S24 Plus wasn't really available in the sale due to maybe stock issues, so same can happen with the S24 Plus, do keep that in mind. And for these expected sale prices, the S24FE would give you more value. So either get the S24FE, or if you want a more premium phone, then get the S24 Plus. I would only recommend the S24 for normal users or casual users only. I hope this might have helped you pick your next Samsung S series phone, and if you want to know the other S series phones pricing in the Flipkart Bbd sale, watch this video right here, or a detailed comparison of the S24FE and the S24 is here. Do give them a watch. Until the next one, this was Rideep. See you guys.